Hi, and welcome back to another Basics of Music Theory lesson. Today we're going to go over rests. Now, what rests are is they are essentially silence is what they stand for. And it's part of reading rhythm is reading rests and knowing when not to make any noise whatsoever. I'm going to say that they're pretty much set up with the same organizational patterns as sounded notes, which means that, what we have is we have a quarter rest, half rest, whole rest, double whole rest, quarter rest, eighth rest, 16th rest, and then I put two 30-second rests here. But I'm just going to go into quick detail on some of them. Like I said, the relative values that we have from before are the same, so, a half rest is two quarter rests. So if you haven't seen the video on sounded notes, I suggest you go watch that one to understand how these are kind of set up in terms of how Western music is kind of read. It's pretty much all twos and threes. So just real fast, the most difficult thing to kind of tell is a half rest from a whole rest because they look very similar. They're just horizontal lines. One's above a bar, one's below a bar. Now, the way that it's usually taught is your whole rest is if this line is kind of considered to be like the ground, if you will, then this is a hole in the ground. The hole in the ground is the whole rest, and that's all you need to remember. Now for over here, when we have things smaller than a quarter rest, which once again, it's this squiggly dude is our quarter rest. I have no real other way to describe it other than a squiggly dude. It's almost like a lightning bolt with a weird talon or something. I don't know. If someone knows why that's what a quarter rest looks like, please post it in the comments because that'd be super interesting to find out, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. Then you have your eighth rest, which is this little bubble with a curve and a line, and then for every kind of half that you split it into, you just add another note head, or in this case a rest head, I suppose. So, the 16th has two note heads on it, where the 8th had one, 32nd has three. You get the point. Now, once again, you can add dots to these, and the dots just mean look at the thing that's before the dot, and whatever length it represents, add on another half of whatever that is. So, dotted quarter rest is a quarter rest and an eighth rest, because an eighth rest is half of a quarter rest. But the dot in a half rest would stand for a quarter note, because before this dot is a half rest, and half of a half rest is a quarter rest. You get the idea. It's like I said, it's the same thing as before. I don't think I need to go into it too much. You can still have double dots where, once again, the dot, whatever the thing before it stands for, half of that. So, kind of going a little bit backwards. This dot stands for the length of half of this dot, which stands for the length of half of this quarter rest, which means that you have a quarter rest, an eighth rest, and a 16th rest, and you can add dots forever, 32nd, 124th, you get the picture. Now, one thing that's different between rests versus sounded notes is that with rests you don't have ties, because what a tie tells you is don't play this note, just keep holding. Whereas with a rest, since you're not playing anything, you don't really need to tell someone, you don't need to stop them from not making noise in order to not make any noise. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't logically make sense to tie things together, but there are still multiple ways for you to write out a dotted quarter rest or any type of rest, really. There's more than one way you could write it. I did the example of a dotted quarter rest here, which you can write a dotted quarter rest as a quarter rest and an eighth rest, or over here I have a dotted quarter rest followed by an eighth rest and a quarter rest. Now, like I said, these two things, these guys over here versus these guys over here, entirely the same thing, just switching up the order. I just wanted to show that there might be different reasons why you will put things in different orders, and next week we're going to go over time signatures, and we'll cover how to know what rest value to put, how to group notes together, all of that. But for now, just know that you have some flexibility with every single type of rest. There's a different way to write it out and a different scenario of why you'd write it out a different way. But we'll get into More of that later. Now, one thing that we have that's different is from sounded notes is we have these things, which are, this H with a long bar in the middle. That's a multi-measure rest. And what that means is, well, first of all, let's just say what a measure is. A measure is anything that happens between these two lines or these two lines. It's little blocks that you break up your music into. And so what a multi-measure rest means is it's when you're going to have just rest for more than one measure, and generally above the multi-measure rest, you will have how long the multi-measure rest lasts. In this case, it's 6 measures. So right here, this isn't a single measure of rest. This is 6 measures of rest. So, and it's 6 measures of rest in 6/8, which is the last time signature we were in. Like I said, we'll cover that more later. But all you need to know when you see something like that is this means that there's just silence for however many measures this number is, in this case 6. Alright, that's really everything I have to say about rests. I hope it was useful. I hope everything made sense to you. If not, please let me know and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Yeah, have a great day and hope you come back to the channel soon. Alright, bye-bye.